Life has a funny way of making me the designated caretaker for the elderly, even when it means putting my own career on the line. Take this recent situation at work, for example. One of our office cleaners, an older woman named Martha, had missed the entire previous week. Our senior manager, Sarah, is known for being cold, and she immediately started berating Martha the moment she walked back into the office. I couldn't just sit there and watch a helpless woman get bullied, so I stepped in. I decided to challenge Sarah's authority, even though it meant putting a target on my back. I told Martha that my office was just around the corner, and she could come to me whenever she needed help. Martha was genuinely impressed, telling me how kind I was. I told her that I've always made it a point to help out the older generation and that I'd always be there for her. She looked at me and said I clearly came from a good family. But then she dropped a hard truth. Being a good person doesn't get you promotions in this corporate world. You usually have to kiss up to the bosses for that. Despite the warnings, I wasn't going to change. Even if Sarah tried to intimidate me, or if every other employee dumped their workload on my desk and ran for the exit, I was going to stick to my principles. I didn't care if people gossiped or spoke ill of me. I refused to become a bitter person. My kindness ended up winning Martha over completely. She was so impressed that she offered to show me her daughter's Instagram page. Her daughter, Emily, was stunning, and her bio mentioned she was a devout believer. As I was scrolling through her photos, my boss, William, walked in and caught me. He immediately accused me of slacking off and flirting on company time. He demanded that I write down all her details and hand them over to him. It was a bizarre and inappropriate request, and I called him out on it, but William doubled down. He claimed I was out of line for looking at photos of Martha's daughter, even though Martha had been the one to show me. He even joked that in an office full of people, no one ever looked at him, and since I found a beautiful flower, like Emily, I had to share the view with him. Just as things were getting heated, Martha walked back in, but the atmosphere shifted instantly. It turned out she wasn't just a cleaner. She was actually William's aunt and the secret owner of the entire company. She had been posing as a poor worker to test the character of her employees. She revealed that Sarah was a manipulative bully and that William was a completely incompetent CEO. Martha had shown me the photos of her daughter because she was actually scouting for a worthy son-in-law, and I had passed her test. She immediately fired Sarah for her toxic behavior and told William he needed to step up or get out. Martha then revealed that our history went back much further than the office. She had actually moved into my neighborhood years ago to test me long before I ever applied for the job. She used to pretend to be a neighbor in need, constantly asking me for small change. To be honest, it used to drive me crazy. She would always show up at the most inconvenient times, like when I was exhausted or taking a nap. If I ever told her I didn't have any money, she would get incredibly grumpy and act like she was going to bite my head off. It was frustrating, and sometimes I wanted to lose my temper, but I stayed patient. One day, when she didn't show up at my door, I actually got worried. I checked her apartment and found it locked from the inside. When we finally broke the door down, we found her unconscious on the floor. It was a wake-up call for me. This pattern of being managed by older women started way back in my school days with my aunt, Mrs. Higgins, who was also my teacher. She was obsessed with correcting me because I was family. I remember a kid named Leo once insulted me right in front of her. When she asked him why, he just honestly said he felt like it. Instead of punishing him, Mrs. Higgins praised his honesty and gave him a front row seat. I was outraged, but she claimed that since he admitted his mistake, he deserved mercy. It was the kind of logic that only someone on cheap substances would use. She told the whole class that if they were honest about their mistakes, they'd be forgiven. Naturally, this led to total chaos. One girl even brought her gaming console to school and confessed it immediately, hoping for the same free pass. My aunt and I were always at odds. She once told me I was just jealous of her happiness. One afternoon, she was in a particularly strange mood and told me she wanted to celebrate with something premium, specifically pointing out an expensive-looking bottle with a gold cap that was sitting on a shelf. The next day was her birthday, and the classroom was filled with students bringing in elaborate gifts. She made it very clear, if you brought a great gift, you got a thank you and praise. If you just brought a heartfelt card, she would publicly embarrass you. She felt entitled to special treatment, but the students were starting to turn against her. Just as the tension peaked, I stepped forward. I told her that despite everything, I was the only one who would truly give her the respect she deserved as family. And for the rest of you watching, if you've ever had a boss or a teacher this crazy, hit that like and subscribe button and comment the name of your city below.